to Inspot the Talk Show, the podcast edition. Guys, I know it has been a little bit of time, but yes, here we are again with real issues. I know I was supposed to release visuals on YouTube this week, but I felt like it's time that we address the issue of Black Lives Matter and the things that's affecting us as Black communities and even the wider communities, not just about Black people as well. I feel like the ethnic minorities, racism is real. So it's time that we talk about it. So today I have a lovely guest with me on this discussion, and I'd like her to introduce herself. Welcome, girl.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. My name is Maddie, and I'll be giving my views to today's topic.
Okay, so let's just start to talk about what's been happening this week. I think it started last week. Last week already?
Yeah, last week.
So the whole killing of George Floyd in America, so by the police. And obviously it wasn't a nice scene. The way the videos went around on social media, it was very heartbreaking to watch. And we saw the whole Blackout Tuesday movement this Tuesday, and the whole Black Lives Matter protest across the globe. So I just want to hear from you. What do you actually think about all the scenes that we have been seeing on televisions and obviously on social media? Is it something that you've been able to deal with, or you've been looking away, or you've actually been able to actually sit down and reflect on all these images?
It's actually very interesting because as a Black person speaking, and I feel like for many Black people, Black history is something when you're growing up in a Black household has been taught to you from a very young age. From slavery days up until now, we know the pain and the trauma that we have gone through. But I feel reflecting upon last week's events, the trauma has kind of reached a different type of level, and it's made you even more sad. Not so much of what has happened before, but almost a thing of why are we still fighting for the same rights that we have fought for so many years and decades, where we were promised to be free people, that we were able to vote, we were able to marry whoever we want to, and we were able to live peacefully. And last week's events have shown us that you can still be Black, minding your business, and someone will still come and kill you for no reason, all because of the colour of our skin. And that is what's really hit me.
Thanks for sharing your honest feedback on this. I mean, let's just go back with your own personal experience. So where were you born? Are you Black, mixed race? I mean, because people can't see you right now because it's a podcast. Can you just tell me about your background? You did touch on the fact that you're Black, but are you 100% Black? Are you mixed, quarter? What is it? What are you?
I'm a full 100% Black woman, melanin queen. I was born in Germany, but I always say, well, if anyone was to ask me now, where are you from? I always say I'm Ghanaian. I'm from Ghana, because I feel like although I was born in Germany, my roots and my heritage have always been something which has been always very close to me since I was born. And I also think that's because of my parents and how they brought me up, and they've made me always aware of where I come from and my history. So I very much latch onto that history and of where I come from and the people that have fought for my country, and I'm really proud of that. So that's why I carry being a Ghanaian woman especially, very, very proudly.
Okay, so back to personal questions as well. Have you ever experienced racism personally? Would you say you've ever experienced racism before in your life as a Black woman?
Yes, most definitely. And it's very interesting because although I was born in Germany, a country which obviously historically has been seen as a very racist country, the most racism I've actually endured has been in England, in Essex to be precise. And I think I'm not the only one that has, been affected by these events, because the area itself is very much, white populated, and it'd be little things, in secondary school, especially if you were the only Black person in the class, and you'd have to read an English literature book, and, so the N-word would come up, and then, the children would all look at you, make you feel like you're a victim, and you'd have to just mentally kind of get prepared of, this word will be said, and everyone will look at me, and making you feel like you're less than, or, people asking you questions of where you come from and your hair. And it's just the little stuff. People don't understand that racism doesn't necessarily have to be you're this or you're that or go back to your country. It can be the little things that people do or say that make you question you or where you come from or your purpose.
Your purpose. So I really like the question. Have you ever questioned your skin colour? Have you ever hated you being Black? Or have you always been a proudly Black woman?
That is a very, very good question. I have had moments in my life where I I've never been a victim of colorism, as to say. People have never picked on the fact that, oh yeah, you're too dark or you're too this. That has never been an issue for me. But I believe it's more of an outward thing. So I would look for things that would, in a way, when I would look at them, kind of defeat me and hurt my own self-esteem, because I myself wasn't happy just generally of who I am. So I was looking for things to kind of like support that low self-esteem.
So wait, let me not get this wrong. Did it have to do with the racism that you faced at school? Was that a separate issue?
It wasn't a separate issue, because I think there were different factors that kind of led onto it. But because of the community that I was living in, because it was a predominantly white area, I was looking for things that would uplift me. So I would usually go on social media and look for things. What would people say about black women? And when I would actually type in black women, a lot of things would be very stereotypical and not actually so nice. And I was actually looking for something good. But then every single time I kept looking at it, it'd be like, oh, black girls are angry, black girls always act like, you know, they know everything. So it would just kind of get you down. But then you had to remind yourself, okay, this is not real life. I have to just keep going, and I just have to keep believing in myself. So yeah.
All right, thanks for sharing this with us. And what I want to touch on specifically is what's happening on social media. Because to be honest with you, I feel like I have been a victim of racism before, especially in Germany, because also I went to secondary school. I think it's always the secondary school age where you go through all of this trauma. Systematic racism is something that I feel like in the UK is a little bit covered. It's not as direct as it is in Germany, but you can still tell that yes, you're different because of the way they look at you. It's different. Do you understand? Even sometimes on a train, it's definitely a seat next to you, but that white person will not sit next to you because you're black. You can sense that because you're different, they don't want to sit next to you. You know, so racism is real. For those that believe it's not real, I would say from personal experience it's real. And so what's been happening on social media, especially with the whole Black Lives Matters movement, do you think it has been productive from looking at it from a bystander's point of view? Do you think enough messages has been sent out with this hashtag?
I feel like the hashtag itself has done really, really amazing things, because it's actually highlighted awareness. And it's not actually just for the black community itself, it's for other communities who may have thought in the past they knew about the black struggles, but actually exposed to a different type of black struggle now. Like, wow, like, is this really how black people are still being treated in 2020? We need to do better. When we say we need to do better, we need to do better not just as a black collective, not just as a white collective, but as a human collective. We need to do better to support our human brothers and sisters who are black and who are being treated like this in 2020, who are being oppressed and who are being killed daily just because of the colour of their skin. And I've seen such excellent things of being, black businesses being promoted, who may have not had that attention before, powerful, black speakers, even black mental health, because we have to remember, when you're seeing all these things, primarily it will affect young black women and black men. So people have been giving out website links and things that, for a black person who may feel overwhelmed by these events, that they can connect with another group, they can have someone to talk to about this, and they can feel like they're not alone, that although it is sad to look at what is happening around you, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what I really loved about it, the togetherness, the coming together.
Yeah, that's very interesting fact. What I also want to address is people are saying COVID-19 is still real, right? The whole pandemic issue about social distancing is real, but you still see a herd of people actually going out to protest because our lives matter, okay? What do you think about this whole, stay at home policy? Yes, people are wearing masks, they're practicing the social distancing measures, right? But they feel like, we need to go out. We can't afford to be at home. Just posting online is not enough. We need to go out. Do you think social distancing measures is a secondary thing right now? Or do you think it has to be on the same balance, the public health versus the race pandemic, as I would put it? What do you think about this whole thing?
It's such an interesting question, because we know how COVID has impacted the whole world globally. Millions of people have lost their life to this virus who no one still knows the cure of. And I will always promote keeping safe first, because we really don't want anyone to affect anyone. We have to make sure that whatever we are doing, we have to be safe. But at the same time, racism is something which has been in society for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's come to a time where people have said, you know what, enough is enough. And as a citizen, especially of the UK, there are rights and there are liberties, and we have a right to freedom of expression, especially when there's unjust in society, such as racism, which is completely unacceptable. And people have taken a stand against this, which they should. And I think that is something we should all be proud of, that people are taking a stand against things which are wrong. People are going out in their masses, but trying their best, to keep safe, wearing masks and keeping social distancing measures, to preach about racism and to make people aware who may not have been aware before, who are ignorant, that racism is wrong, it's sick, and that we need to do better as a new generation coming up, and the kids that we're going to be raising, that we need to teach them that black, white or Asian, that we're all beautiful and we all deserve to be treated in the same manner. 100%. Because COVID-19, although we will be living with it for a few years to come, racism is something that has always been stuck around, and will always in some form always be stuck around. But we need to tackle it in a very, very, very diplomatic way, but at the same time send out also a strong message to those that racism no longer will be openly tolerated. Even if you have those thoughts, keep them to yourself. Don't express them.
So guys, so what we're saying is, yes, it's good that you go out and protest and exercise your civil liberties, but also please be safe, because the pandemic is still around, it's still real, okay? We all need your lives. Your lives matter. Your lives matter. So we need you to be around. So when you go out, make sure you're wearing your mask, you're wearing your gloves, you're washing your hands, practice social distancing measures. The last point that I want to raise is the next steps for the black community, because a lot of people are saying, oh, how come you're saying Black Lives Matters when it comes to black against white kind of brutalities, but black people are killing black people. Black people are not loving themselves. Why is that same hashtag not working? What do you say to that?
Well, I've heard very good opposing arguments. One argument I've heard on people trashing down the black on black crime is that black people don't kill each other because of the colour of our skin. But it's more hateful than that. It can be little things like jealousy, or especially putting its perspective, living in London, it'd be a postcode war where, certain friends over certain areas, things have been done, people have died. And so there's this hate that has spewed on for also years and years. And then there's these young black males who are probably just the same. They're just from different parts of London. But if they were to see each other on the road, on the street, they would bring out a knife and they would kill each other, which is really sad. But I think because they are so blinded, they don't see the fact that, oh wow, this is actually my own brother, this is actually my own sister. They're only looking out for revenge or for vengeance, that you're from a different area and I don't like you because you did something to my friend. But we need to actually have an open, honest discussion that no, we can't be doing this, because we're actually sending out the wrong message as well to the outsiders. Because if I'm someone seeing me as a black guy and another black guy, and we're not actually uplifting one another, we're actually killing each other, what does that say about us as black men? That says that we don't value each other. We don't value brotherhood. We don't value sisterhood.
Yeah.
And we need to make that a focus of the community. And it's going to be a very hard thing to do, because like I said, a lot of the time it's nothing to do with race when it comes to black people. Yeah. It's just down to the fact of living in London, people have died, gang rivalry, and the hate has just spewed so deep. Whereas it's a question of, you can't even go to this area, you'll be killed.
Because let me just add to that, because a lot of times it's about drug dealing, so them it's business. It's like rivalry, competition when it comes to business. Some people might, rule a certain territory, so they want to be in charge of that territory, that postcode.
Yeah.
Because they're dealing, they're selling certain things, guns, whatever, you name it. What kind of class A, class B, whatever. They feel like, yes, this is business, I need to protect my business. So that's a different level, right? But we're not tolerating black on black crime. Any type of crime is totally wrong. And I think it's time that we're all united, be it black women, black men, the whole communities. We need to be educated about these issues, and we have to love ourselves. Okay, so Maddie, thank you so much today for joining in, and
it was my pleasure
for sparing your time and sharing your honest feedback with us on Black Lives Matter. Guys, thank you so much. So do tune in and be expecting great visuals soon. So hopefully you guys will stay blessed and safe. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.